Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now October 1st of 2022. Time is just moving along very quickly, and as we get through each and every week, it only brings us closer to a show that's most anticipated, Tales of the Jedi. That's really going to give us a brand new perspective on some of the fan favorite characters like Count Dooku, Qui-Gon Jinn, and a whole lot more as well. Now, with that being said too, we also have The Bad Batch 2 releasing in January, followed by The Mandalorian Season 3 and Ahsoka and a whole lot more as well. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one major thing that a lot of fans have been looking forward to when it comes to Disney Star Wars is the fact that now Bob Chapek has been allowing Jon, Dave, and George to do whatever they please with the future of Star Wars. Whatever show it may be, whatever project it may be, they have full creative power besides the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, and that's it, period. So, obviously, there's a lot of things happening between Kathleen Kennedy and Disney, as we discussed in the last video, if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. But moving ahead here, there are great things on the road for Star Wars. The roadmap is ever evolving. There's a lot of new additions coming our way that will be announced next year at Celebration and D23. And, of course, a lot of this involves a lot of retcons, a lot of changes toward the Star Wars lore, and a whole lot more as well. Now, with that being said, of course, what's even all the more involved with all of this is the fact that we have, of course, Disney executives giving, of course, the proper power to the right creators. Now, with George Lucas heavily involved in multiple projects now with Favreau and Filoni to help steer Star Wars in the right path, Disney has also been giving, of course, him many offers to regulate the franchise. One of the biggest things that Lucas is working on right now with Favreau and Filoni is the introduction of the World Between Worlds in the form of live action that will be teased in the upcoming Ahsoka series and for a planned Season 2 of Ahsoka that Favreau and Filoni are currently pitching to Disney. Now, the big plan with the WBW that Lucas is controlling and calling the shots on with Dave and Jon involves a full-fledged attempt to change history and aspects of the sequel trilogy movies, using the World Between Worlds, that will have a deep impact on characters like Ben Solo, Luke, Palpatine, and even Rey. This is something that Lucas is very involved with, and actually was chosen by Filoni and Favreau to give the okay on what works and what doesn't for the WBW to be used in order to change the sequel trilogy lore and more. Now, let me just pause here quick before I get to the next more involved material that's even all the more exciting, is the fact that thankfully, Lucas is involved with how the World Between Worlds is going to be regulated and used in the upcoming Star Wars canon. Now, obviously, a lot of fans may view this as a little out of the ordinary, but I think it's something that a lot of fans have been waiting for, given that the last time that we saw the World Between Worlds in action was in Star Wars Rebels Season 4. Since then, we have seen nothing about that realm, and now, with the Ahsoka series and another Star Wars show that will be announced next year, it's going to utilize the World Between Worlds in ways that fans can never imagine. So this attempt to using this realm to change the history of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker is a big deal, and the fact that George has a lot of control over that, I believe, is going to give a lot of fans a lot of hope about the future. Now, is it really going to change how fans view the sequel trilogy as a whole? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on the execution and how involved it's going to be, right? So it's said to actually have an impact on characters like Ben Solo, Rey, Palpatine, and more. In fact, if you guys go ahead and look back at that Rebels episode in Season 4, in the WBW, when Ezra is walking through all of it, you can actually hear Rey you can hear Kylo Ren, you can hear all the characters that stretch from the prequels to the sequels. And that's what I love about that realm, is that there's so much mystery to it all. And on top of this, alright, George, John, and Dave are said to break some of the current canon that involves the WBW. Basically, they're going to be breaking some canon and building new canon into that realm that's going to make things make a lot more sense as to what they are doing with the sequel trilogy films. So that, I think, you know, is a good sign, because they're trying to really create their own lore over existing ones. So with that being said, too, moving from all of that, alright, this is where things begin to really pick up, is that, of course, this is something that Lucas has been in discussions with over Disney for a very long time, and as of now, Lucas is working on storyboards for other shows that will also showcase the world between worlds besides Star Wars Ahsoka, and so far, these mystery shows are not well known just yet, but will be announced sometime next year, one of which is The Circle of the Wills, one of which also is set to alter the sequel trilogy drastically, that will give fans a brand new perspective on the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. This is something that Kathleen Kennedy is not supporting and having issues with it, no surprise. Lucas is also getting prepared to join the stage at Celebration next year, with both Favreau and Filoni to make a very special announcement involving the Ahsoka series that will connect to these sequel trilogy changes, and more to arrive as well. Now, apart from this too, a lot of sets are actually being built for a new mystery series already that is going to be announced in early 2023, give or take around February, prior to Star Wars Celebration. And this really is kind of on par with how the Skeleton Crew series kind of just had a pretty much a head start on things, right? That's the show by Kathleen Kennedy, by the way. This thing was filming before anybody knew about the show, before any kind of announcement was even given. And the same exact thing is happening with another mystery show that is happening as we speak, that's going to enter production sometime next year in the first quarter. Now, given of course that Lucas has a lot of power over how the world between worlds will be used, I think it's going to give fans a lot of hope. There's a lot of things coming out of this that are really going to change the core aspects of the sequels. Now, given that Ahsoka is going to be a very big show, Favreau and Filoni are pitching a season 2. So far, it's only a limited series, but they want to make it into a multi-season show. The same exact thing is actually being worked on right now with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. They're actually moving that into becoming a multi-season show as well, and that's great news because they're giving it another shot. Now, given that, of course, everything related to that, they have to be very careful. Even Favreau said before in the past that even the slightest mistake can create the biggest domino effect in a franchise like Star Wars. I mean, it's something that you can't really mess around with or take for granted. You really have to watch every move that you make in the scripts, in the storytelling process, and more. So at least Favreau is very well aware about the problems that any kind of mishap can actually, create itself into. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.